All right. Hey, Caleb.
Hey, Mom.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How's the writing going?
It's going pretty good.
Good. Okay, what did we work on yesterday concerning our writing? Do you remember what we...
Yes, ma'am. We came up with an issue and did an Annie chart.
Okay, so we came up with another issue and began our writing with an Annie chart. Now, remind us, how do we get an issue?
We read the book,
Mm-hmm.
and then, or I guess you could watch the movie. But I guess for moms, it would be recommended that you read the book.
Okay.
And you just choose a thing that you think that they should not have done or that they should have done in the book.
Okay.
Like, I chose whether Lucy should have had tea with Mr. Tumnus.
Okay, so our book was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Right.
And you chose the issue, you chose a character, Lucy, and then you chose an action that she did and made a should question out of it. And then we turned it into an issue by putting the word whether in front of it, right? So
Right.
our issue is whether Lucy should have had tea with Mr. Tumnus. Okay, so we began our Annie chart. When we first started our Annie chart, how many affirmatives and negatives and interesting did we come up with?
About 7 of each.
Okay, a few of each. Now, was that before we started using some common topics, or?
That's before we used the 5 common topics.
Okay, okay. And then tell me a little bit about the common topics. What did the common topics help us do with our Annie chart?
Well, you kind of just, if you can remember the 5 common topics, then you ask that question
Okay.
to yourself, and it really helps you think, contemplate upon, the relationship between Mr. Tumnus and Lucy, and kind of compare them, like one's a human, one's a fawn, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it helps you really, think more.
Good.
So,
Do you remember just maybe the names of the common topics? And we're going to keep learning how to, work with questions under each common topic. But what were the names of the common topics? Do you remember those?
number 1 is definition. Number 2 is comparison. Number 3 is, let's see, number 3 is circumstances. Number 4 is relationship. And number 5 is authority.
Good, good. Can you give me an example of one of the questions we might have asked for definition?
For definition?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the definition of Lucy.
Okay.
Like define Lucy.
So we might say, who is Lucy?
Right.
Or who is Tumnus? Good. And then for comparison, what was an example of a question we might have used for comparison?
Comparing Lucy and Tumnus.
Okay.
How one's a fawn, one's a human.
Good. And we'd say maybe how they're alike, and then we'd also ask how they are,
They both care for others.
mm-hmm.
So,
and we'd say how are they different? And you said one's a human, one's a fawn.
right.
Okay, good. And then the other common topic, the next one was it circumstance?
Yes, ma'am.
And what kind of question would we ask to help us think in the category of circumstance?
Like the circumstances, like how did Lucy get into Narnia?
Good.
Maybe.
Okay. Or what was going on in Narnia at the same time? So that was good. And the next one was relationship. What's an example of a question that we might ask that has to do with relationship?
The relationship between Tumnus and Lucy.
Okay. Yep. That relationship. And we might ask what caused Lucy to have.
A relationship with Tumnus.
Yeah.
To have tea with Tumnus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
And what was the effect, maybe, of what happened?
if the White Witch knew, then Tumnus could get in bad trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So he was pretty much putting himself in danger by letting Lucy go.
Yeah, and we find out later he got turned to stone, right? So, I
Right.
mean, some pretty big effects. Okay, and then our last one was authority. So what kind of question did we ask for authority?
Authority,
Mm-hmm.
the question that we asked for authority.
We asked maybe who saw them or who knew
Yeah,
what had
who saw
happened.
them, who knew. Right.
Mm-hmm. Who do we think, who saw that or eventually knew that Lucy had?
The White Witch eventually
Mm-hmm.
knew, but nobody saw because it actually was that Lucy told Edmund, and Edmund told the White Witch.
Right.
So I would have to say my least favorite character is definitely Edmund.
Okay, okay. So we went from an Annie chart. When we first started, we had 4 to 7 items. And then as we thought through these questions of discovery, these questions of invention, we built an Annie chart that had, I don't know, how many do we have now, Caleb, in each column? Let's look over
About
there.
12, 13.
Okay. Okay, 12 or 13. It was just our first time using these tools and these topics of invention, weren't they? So that's kind of cool. All right. Good job, Caleb.